All right, today we're doing a little tech support, but for your brain. It turns out the default operating system that we're all running has a fundamental bug, a real glitch in the system when it comes to logic and probability. But don't worry, we're going to install a patch.
Okay, let's just dive right in. To see this bug in action, I'm going to run a quick diagnostic on your mental software. You don't need to prepare for this, just go with your gut.
Okay, seriously, think about it. In any group of people, how many do you need in the room to have a 50-50 shot that at least two of them share the exact same birthday? Remember, there are 365 days in a year. What's the first number that pops into your head? Don't overthink it. Just trust that initial instinct. You got a number? Good. Now, if you're like most of us, your intuition probably coughed up a pretty high number. Maybe something like 183, right? I mean, that's about half the days in a year. It feels logical. To get a 50-50 chance, you'd think you'd need about half the total possibilities covered. Makes perfect sense, intuitively.
And your intuition is completely wrong. The actual answer is just 23. Let that sink in for a second. With only 23 people in a room, it is a coin flip whether two of them share a birthday. Now, if that feels deeply, fundamentally weird to you, congratulations, you've just found the bug. And this, right here, illustrates the core problem perfectly. The bug in our programming is that we're built to trust our gut instincts. But the reality is that our brains are, frankly, just awful at intuitively calculating probability. That feeling of shock you just had, that's the sound of your intuition crashing into cold, hard math. This isn't just a random piece of trivia, by the way. This is the very famous birthday problem. And it's Exhibit A in the case against our brain's deeply flawed intuition.
Yeah, it's known as the birthday paradox, and it's the perfect demonstration of that flaw in our thinking. Now, it's not a true paradox in the, logical sense, but we call it that because the mathematical truth is so incredibly counterintuitive, it just feels impossible.
But that's not the only piece of evidence, not by a long shot. Let's move to another classic example that trips up our mental wiring. Welcome to the game show dilemma. So picture this. You're on a game show. There are 3 doors. Behind one door is a brand new car. Behind the other 2 are goats. You pick a door. Let's say door number 1. Then the host, who knows where the car is, opens door number 3 and reveals a goat. Then he turns to you and asks, do you want to stick with door number 1 or do you want to switch to door number 2? What do you do? And once again, our gut just screams at us. It's 50-50 now, it says. There are 2 doors left. It doesn't matter if you switch. Stick with your first choice. Don't look indecisive. This actually points to another part of the bug. We get really attached to our initial decisions. We hate changing our minds, even when brand new information comes to light. But let's look at the data. Your first choice, door number 1, only ever had a 1 in 3 chance of being right. That means there was a 2 in 3 chance the car was behind one of the other 2 doors. When the host opens one of those doors to show you a goat, he's not changing the original odds. He's giving you a huge piece of information. That entire 2 in 3 probability is now concentrated on that one single remaining door. You should always, always switch. It literally doubles your chance of winning. So we've seen 2 crystal clear examples where our intuition leads us completely astray. But why does this happen? What is the root cause of this mental malfunction?
Well, it's because when we're faced with uncertainty, especially around probability, our brains don't default to math. Instead, we fall back on something much more primitive, magical thinking. We start thinking about luck and hunches and superstition instead of actually engaging in critical thought. And this isn't some abstract idea. We do this all the time. Think about it. Have you ever worn a specific shirt or a pair of socks for a big game or an interview because you thought it was lucky? Or do you trust a hunch about something, even when all the data is pointing in the opposite direction? These are all just low-stakes versions of the exact same bug. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. We've seen the evidence. Now it's time to fix it. It's time to install the software update your brain has been waiting for. We're calling it the logic patch. And what is it exactly? It's a conscious, deliberate decision to override your flawed gut instinct. It's about making the choice to rely on data, evidence, and the actual rules of probability instead of just feelings or hunches. So how do you install it? It's a really simple 2-step process. First, you just have to accept the basic premise. Acknowledge right now that your gut is simply not a reliable tool for this kind of thinking. And second, when you face a decision that involves uncertainty, you have to actively seek out the data. You have to ask, what are the actual numbers here? Instead of, well, what does it feel like? And this really brings us to the key takeaway. If you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this simple phrase. The next time you're trying to figure out the odds or make a tough choice under uncertainty, ignore the vibes. Trust the data.
Installing this one logic patch for probability is a fantastic first step, but it leaves us with a much bigger, more provocative question, doesn't it? If our brains have this fundamental bug in one area, what other cognitive biases, what other flawed intuitions are quietly running in the background of your life, affecting your decisions without you even knowing it? Something to think about.